And what's going on, guys? Alex here, and right now let's have a look at the perfect desk setup which I have gathered for almost a year while doing two jobs at the same time, and let's have a look at its transformation from a trashy looking setup to this beauty. But there is no desk setup without a desk, so essentially here we have the desk, which is a standing desk and which has a motor and the memory buttons, which essentially allow me to have three positions to remember, and so essentially I can work sitting, standing, and I don't know, maybe sitting, standing in between. So essentially the most time I use it while sitting, because I'm a very lazy person and still I supposed that I would have enough power in me to work standing, but it's pretty exhausting to be honest. But still, pretty looking desk, that's number one. And right now going from right to left, and here we have what we have on the right. On the right we have a piece which I have sewed off my old working desk, and this old working desk is a pretty cheap one, but still it serves me as some sort of a night table. Right over here we have a stand for the laptop stand from Satechi, the same as I have used before, but still right now I use it only if I am connecting my laptops to my monitors, because essentially right now I have this beast of a computer which we'll talk about a little bit later. Still, what's going on next? And here we have some case from the noise cancelling earphones headset, because this headset is Sony VH1000XM4, I suppose. Next thing which we have here is the MX palm rest and the Logitech Craft, the perfect keyboard for working, perfect keyboard for some digital artwork, because it has a knob, and this knob is simply amazing. Mwah, voila, bellissimo, simply amazing knob if you want to work with some Adobe software. It has integration, so it works simply incredibly. Next thing which stands right over here is my go-to Windows laptop. This Windows laptop is a pretty cheap one, but still it has pretty impressive specs, something like 1650 Max Q graphics card, i5, 8GB of RAM and OLED screen, so that's quite important for me, but that's not my main laptop right now, because right now I'm using MacBook as my go-to laptop. And right now going to the most interesting part of the setup, and that's this gorgeous big looking tower of a PC. Talking about the PC, this PC is very incredible because it has 4070 Ti, it has AMD 7, I suppose? Yes, I'm AMD 7 CPU, it has 32GB of RAM, and also at the same time it rocks like 3 SSDs, like 3TB of SSD, but I have one integrated, like NVMe SSD, and two separate SSDs from Samsung T7 and one the Shield one, so NT5 as well. So essentially I use it mostly in order to capture my videos, in order to capture my sound, in order to keep everything, because I suppose that sometimes when I need it I don't want to transfer everything to my flashcards, in order to transfer it to the cloud, in order to have it somewhere where I am going. So going next to the setup and what we have here. And here we're having quite a good thing, quite useful thing to be honest, which I really enjoy, and that's this stand for the bottle. This is a simple stand for the bottle from IKEA. It's IKEA like bottle cup stand from its integration with the Asus ROG. So it's pretty cheap one, but still it serves very perfectly, because right now my bottle has its place, and so it makes sure that I drink water quite regularly. Next thing which is connected to my gorgeous PC, and that's DualSense. Why DualSense? Because essentially I like to play games on this gaming station, because what for? I would get a 4070 Ti, not for work of course. So I really enjoy playing, and essentially DualSense makes sure that I can have all of it. So essentially, if we're talking about such games as The Last of Us, and God of War, and Horizon Zero Dawn, and even The Witcher 3, It has pretty interesting integrations like adaptive triggers and interesting vibration, the same as it is with DualSense for PS5, but the only thing is that it works only using a cable. So essentially I use it when I'm sitting right here, but when I'm playing on, let's say, my projector, which will be talking about a little bit later, I am using Xbox wireless controllers. But still, going next to these two gorgeous monitors. Before that I was rocking only one monitor, which was this one, and that's 4K 60Hz screen with pretty amazing graphics and color correction, but it doesn't work very good for gaming. Not because it's a very cheap one, it's very expensive, but it has only 60Hz, and so essentially if you are rocking 4K and you would like to rock a little bit more than 60Hz, so that's why I have bought this gaming monitor, which is from the cheap side. It's something around $250. It is 2K 144Hz gaming monitor with VA panel, so essentially I have very deep blacks, but also at the same time it makes sure that I can have pretty smooth gameplay. So that's why this is my gaming, this is my working setup, and it works bellissimo, incredible as well. Also, if we're talking about working, I have right here a little stand for my iPad mini, because I'm rocking iPad mini wherever I go, because I read on iPad mini, I watch videos, I sometimes even write on iPad mini, because it's a very convenient device to carry with you. It's a small one, and to be honest, I get used to carrying with me something similar to a portable tablet when I was rocking a Galaxy Fold 3. So it is right now standing on a very cheap stand from AliExpress. I don't remember the correct naming, but it costed something like $2. So it doesn't matter. So going next, and that's a screen cleaner, because of course when you have lots of stuff in your room, you get your screens very dirty, very dusty from time to time. So that's why I have ordered this paper-like screen cleaner, and it is essentially a spray bottle with microfiber cloth around it. I have talked about it in a previous video, so feel free to go there, and where we were talking about transparent accessories. So going next, and that will be of course some IKEA plants, because I want to add some greenery to my setup, but I don't want to be responsible for another dead plant. Going next, that would be my main camera, which I use as my webcam, and that's Canon 700D, the same as before, which I have used for streaming. Right now I use it mainly as my webcam because it has very good bokeh, it has very good quality, it films it at 1080p, but it's more than enough for video calls, it's more than enough for streaming, because eventually I am not ready for streaming in 4K. Going next to the another cameras which I am using in order to stream, in order to also sometimes to do video calls, and that would be this 2K Fine K420. It's a 2K camera, it works in 30p, and it has pretty good quality for some video calls and for some background shots when I am using this camera for streaming. Of course, the same camera as it was before, that's Razer Kaio, which stands right over here. And that's Razer Kaio, and it's pretty good cam, but still it works a little bit quirky from time to time, because I don't know why, but it doesn't want to work together with Fine K420. So that's why I use Fine K420 as my main webcam, and that's my backup cam. So going next will be the sound. The sound is the same as before, the Logitech Z333. These are speakers 2.1 with subwoofer. So essentially these speakers work really great, and I don't think I would like to get something new, but the only thing which I'm thinking about is getting the Razer, actually a Razer soundbar, but it costs a lot first of all, and the only reason why I'm thinking about getting that, and that's RGB, because essentially the most thing which I have on my table right now are from Razer, so I like lighting, I like all of these RGB background shots and so on, so that's why I suppose that I would like to upgrade, but still these speakers work simply great. Going next, if we're talking about the sound, and that would be which are my main headset. My main headset would be Razer Kraken V3 HyperSense. It's a wired headset which stands actually on the headphone stand from Razer as well. It has lightning, it works like as it's supposed to work, it has additional USB ports, but the main thing is that this headset has vibration in the ear cups, and so essentially what you can perform, you can add some more vibration, some more integration into the game while you're playing. So essentially when I'm playing Battlefield 2042, in that case this vibration adds me to the scene, and it feels more immersive to play these games with such type of vibration. I suppose it's very similar to the vibration of the controller, but I am not as skillful to play first-person shooters on a controller, so the vibration which I use is actually in the headset, and it works really great. Of course, I have a hook under my table, and it serves as a hook for another headset, and that's the first headset which I have shown the case from before, and that's Sony XM4, the noise cancelling headset which I use mostly when I'm going somewhere, when I'm working somewhere outside. I don't use it mainly at home because I don't need to, but still it is a very nice place to carry them, to hang it, because it hangs here, and it adds a little bit of productivity to this setup. Of course, going next would be the 3.5mm headset from JBL. The only reason why I am using this headset is when I am actually using my VR helmet, because it has a 3.5mm audio jack, or when I'm playing Sony games on my PC, because in that case I am connecting my headset to the dual fans, so in that case my sound goes through the dual fans, and it adds a little bit vibration when person is talking, for example. So that gives me a little bit more than immersion, so that's why I don't need the vibration from the headset as it is. So still going next to one of the most interesting part of the setup, and that's actually would be Steam Deck. Steam Deck, which I have done the review my own. It stands over here on the Steam Deck dock, and it actually is connected both to my PC and to the wired projector or Samsung Freestyle. So first of all, why I am having the Steam Deck connected to my PC? That's mainly for streaming, because it's connected to the double capture card, so essentially I can have my first picture gone to the projector, so essentially Samsung Freestyle, so I can play on my ceiling, and also at the same time it's going to my computer, so it's sending the same footage to the computer in order for me to be able to stream this footage without any lagging. So going to the most interesting part of this setup, of this gaming setup, that would be this HyperX controller charging station. I have two Xbox controllers. One is connected to the Steam Deck on all of the time, and the second one is connected to my PC. And the first one is just a simple white controller for Xbox, and the second one is the controller from Xbox, which was actually solved with the Xbox, which was essentially Cyberpunk 2077 edition. So I love Cyberpunk 2077, waiting for the DLC very much, but the thing is that it would be very hard to find these controllers separately, so I have paid something around $150 on eBay for this controller because it looks simply incredibly. So going next, and the next which we have my nightstand. My nightstand serves me not only as a nightstand, but also it serves me as an entertainment station, because over here, first of all, we have a MagSafe charging station for my Apple Watch and for my iPhone. Next thing is, of course, the IKEA lamp, because it looks really, really nice, and you can dim the light however you'd like. Next thing, of course, wireless charger, and the Kindle standing on the wireless charger, because I would like my Kindle to be charged on all of the occasions. Next thing, of course, that would be the same Google Home screen, which serves me mainly as a clock, as an alarm clock, as a clock during the nighttime, and of course sometimes I play music on it, and it actually, Google Assistant is much better than Siri. And the most interesting part, and that would be this Samsung Freestyle. It's a projector which costed at first a lot, something around $1,000, but I have bought it when it was something around $500. And for its price, it's simply incredible. It's a 1080p projector, it has gaming mode, it works very good, it has such thing as a controller, this one. So essentially I can use it to watch TV shows on Netflix, Disney Plus, so essentially everything I'd like as a normal TV. It has the screen up to 100 inches and it works very good. And one of the most important things is that it stands on the battery case. So essentially that's a big battery on 32,000 milliampere hours, so I can carry this projector wherever I go, and it's very interesting thing to carry with you because you can watch your films, you can play any games you'd like on whatever surface you'd like, so ceiling, walls, wherever you'd like. I have tried it several times and it's simply incredibly. And now going to one of the most interesting parts for me personally, and that would be what actually is located on my desk setup, and that's keyboard, mouses and so on. So talking about what's located on my desk setup. So first of all, the desk mat, the same as before, desk mat from Razer, because I love RGB as I said before. Next thing, of course, the MagSafe charger for my iPhone. Stream Deck, of course, the video on the Stream Deck is also on the channel, one of the most popular videos on the channel, like 15,000 views I suppose, so it's very good. And so, going right now to the desk and the most important thing, the mouses and keyboards. Talking about mouses, I rock 3 main mouses on my desk when I'm working right over here. And that would be Razer Viper Ultimate, the Cyberpunk edition, because obviously I love Cyberpunk and it looks very good. Of course it has a dock. Next thing, that would be Logitech G502X with RGB. It also has one dock from AliExpress, because obviously Logitech doesn't make docks from their mouses. They have a little bit other thing. They have a PowerPlay like desk mat, but I don't like it, to be honest, because I prefer to have these desk mat from Razer. And of course the productivity mouse, Logitech MX Master 3. And now talking about the keyboard, I am obsessed with keyboards, and as you will see a little bit later. And right now I'm rocking Keychron V1 knob version keyboard, which I have modified using black switches and using the keycaps from Keychron Retro Mac, and as you can hear right now, it is as stocky as you can get with a very cheap keyboard, because this keyboard and everything else like switches and keycaps cost something around $150. It's much less than, for example, Logitech Craft, as I have shown before, which I use mainly to produce my videos, and this keyboard I use mainly for typing and mainly for gaming, because it has very pleasant sound, it isn't very clicky, and it looks simply amazing, and it has of course coiled cable from Amazon. But still, going next to what is in my desk drawers. My desk drawers is also from IKEA, and first of all, fitting on my desk drawers is my mouse for my MacBook and my iPad. That's Logitech Pebble, quite sleek, quite small mouse, which I carry with me when I use my MacBook somewhere outside of my apartment, and also when I'm using it with my another iPad, which I use mainly for graphic design. So that would be iPad Pro with M2 version and Apple Pencil, because this iPad is huge, it's 12.9 inches, but with this keyboard it's heavy as well, but it works incredibly if we're talking about graphic design and if we're talking about working with MacBook, which I also have right over here. That's MacBook Pro 14-inch with M2 Pro processor. It works very incredibly, it's very sleek, it's a very good design, and I really missed working with MacBooks for a very long period of time since I have transferred to Windows PC working only. And by the way, if we're talking about the desk and what's located on the desk, one of the most important things which I am using on all of the occasions is the desk lamp, and that's actually a monitor lamp which I have shown actually in the previous video as well before. It would be somewhere 1 year ago, I suppose, and that's actually such thing as a dimmer, wireless dimmer for my monitor lamp. My monitor lamp works as it's supposed to work. It has color correction, it may be warm light, cold light, but still the wireless dimmer and gives me some vibes, some interesting vibes of being full in control, because I like these knobs and the whistles, bells and whistles and knobs all over the place. Next thing, which actually is a very important thing if we're talking about productivity and if you would like to track some time, and that's actually such thing as a simple timer. Simple timer from AliExpress. It has also a knob right around its set. So as you can see right now, I am changing the time. And the main idea is that you can track your time. You can track your time, how much you are spending time working, how much you are spending time playing games, and so on. So essentially, the only thing it does, it tracks time, and it's actually very good thing for you to track, because otherwise you will find yourself procrastinating a lot, like I was doing that before. And of course, another silicone thing which stands right next to it, and that's actually stand for my pens and Apple Pencil. So essentially, it was created for Apple Pencil, but I don't use it as a stand for Apple Pencil not so often. I use it mainly to place my pens. So for example, I take this Lemmy Swift very sleek pen and I put it right over here, and so it stands, and it reminds me all of the time to take my notes and to keep a journal, because right over here also you can find two things which are located on my desk on all of the time, and that's first of all this notebook, which is actually my to-do list, which I am keeping track of on paper, what I need to do when I'm sitting right here. And the next thing which I'm using is also the Leuchtturm, very small notebook to keep track of my thoughts. So essentially, when I have some thoughts, when I have some creative ideas, I prefer to write them down, and for that purpose I use two Lemmy Swift pens, which are very good pens for its price. Of course, it's not on a very cheap side, but if we're talking about some stationery, it's pretty cheap, because some stationery can go up to 1,000 euros and it costs only 30 bucks. And the latest update to the setup are two things. First of all, that's a Razer Leviathan 2X, the perfect soundbar with exceptionally good RGB lighting, and of course one of the most interesting things which you can see on a desk setup, and that's a really cool small portable fan which is powered by USB cable. So essentially for summer that is simply amazing, because it gets really hot in summer in my apartment. So essentially that's number one stuff which I would highly recommend you if you have the similar problem. But still, going to the desk and what's under the desk. As you have seen already, under the desk is located my MacBook and my iPad. The first drawer is dedicated towards cases and towards different types of straps for my Apple Watch. I'm rocking Apple Watch Ultra because I don't know why, I love big sizes, I suppose, or I have too much money to spend. Next thing which I am having right here will be the case for the Steam Deck when I'm carrying actually the Steam Deck with me. It happens not so often lately because I'm working too much, but still. And also here is located some things like MagSafe for Apple Watch and MagSafe for iPhone, and also two microphones which I have taken from my headset from Razer and from JBL headset, because obviously I don't need the microphone on my headset, because I use this BGT with RGB HyperX microphone, so essentially it works very good for my purposes, and also it adds a little bit of personality using this RGB. And of course the thing which you can find here is also 3.5mm audio jack, actually Apple EarPods. Apple EarPods will be one of the most cheapest monitoring headset you can get for your microphone, because first of all it has an open side, so actually you will really hear your environment, you can hear yourself very clearly as well, and it costs only 20 bucks. So essentially this headset, these earphones, has also very good microphone, and I have the same headset but only with lightning with me on all of the time when I am somewhere on the go with my backpack, because otherwise when I will have something like a long call or something like a team meeting on Zoom or Microsoft Teams, in that case I would like to have some good microphone. So, and the AirPods Pro doesn't have so good microphone. It has amazing sound, but it doesn't have very good microphone. So essentially this microphone is very good. But still, going next will be this perfect beast of a VR helmet. This VR helmet is Oculus VR 2. It's one of the most popular VR helmets, I suppose. It's a wireless helmet. It can work not only with PC, but it can work separately, independently from the PC. It has lots of games. I play like Half-Life Alyx. I watch some YouTube videos, some 3D videos, and so it works very great. I really enjoy doing that, and if you would like to find some new entertainment for you, I suppose VR is a very good thing to invest your money in. Of course, there are some charging cables for my cameras and also my Wacom drawing tablet. This is a very cheap one, the basic, even lower than basic graphic tablet. It serves very good if you would like to have some quick sketch on your PC, but as I said before, I use mainly as my graphic tablet iPad Pro because it works a little bit better. I can see the result right on the screen and I don't need to have to look from my tablet to my screen on all of the time. And also the last drawer right over here will be the drawer for my keyboards. For my keyboards, and that there you can see such keyboards as Logitech 915 TKL, because for some time I was rocking low profile mechanical keyboard, and of course there will be such thing as a Razer Huntsman Mini and Razer Black Widow Mini, because I would like sometimes a little bit smaller form factor, and of course sometimes I would enjoy some wireless keyboard. And of course, if we're talking about Razer, the most interesting thing about Razer and having and being in a Razer ecosystem, if we're talking about Razer Chroma, is the fact that some of the games, as for example Hogwarts Legacy or Cyberpunk 2077, are actually connected to Razer Chroma, and so what you can do, you can have all of the visual effects from the RGB on your keyboard, on your mouse, on your headset, on your headphone stand, on your desk mat, and so essentially it works very great. So that's why, for example, when I'm playing Cyberpunk 2077 and when I don't need this stocky sound, in that case I am using my Razer Black Widow Mini, because in that purpose it gives me very good lighting. As you have seen before, I have spent some time on organizing everything, because before that all I was doing, I was simply buying stuff which I supposed I needed for my desk setup, and I was putting it where I could find the place. So it wasn't organized, and so right now it's more or less organized except cable management, because I obviously hate cable management, and the thing is that I don't mind seeing cables on my desk. So that's why, as you can see, cable management simply sucks. But still, thank you for joining. By the way, I have launched a website with some proteins, with some BCAAs, creatine, and some other stuff on my website, Shur.limited. Feel free to have a look at that. And on that positive note, I would like to end it. Thank you for joining, and hope to see you here next time. Feel free to leave a comment down below, and feel free to consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. See you next time. Peace.